The Transat Jacques Vabre Normandie Le Havre fleet has been kept secure during the passage of Storm Ciarán. There is no start before Monday for any class, including the IMOCAs. All of the docked 90-boat fleet of the Transat Jacques Vabre Normandie Le Havre has been kept safe and secure through last night's Storm Ciarán, which ravaged the Brittany coast and the English Channel. Meteo France say they recorded gusts of over 80 knots last night. This morning the winds eased off, and as the tide dropped the seas around the docks, in Lorient La Base, allowing skippers and technical teams from the Class 40s and Ocean 50 classes there to be able to carry out a full check of boats and their mooring lines, ahead of another storm expected Saturday. In Le Havre, where the 40 IMOCAs are securely tied up in the Paul Vatine Basin, a chop was whipped up to 80 centimeters by the storm force winds in the enclosed docks. The winds peaked in Le Havre at the end of the morning. We remained very vigilant, especially when the dock gates opened between noon and 1:10 p.m., with a 1-meter surge, which caused the pontoons to rise by that much. Fortunately, the wind dropped at the same time and there was no damage, explained race director Francis Le Goff. All day, race direction continued to work on scenarios for a new start, in collaboration with Christian Dumard, meteorologist for the Transat Jacques Vabre Normandie Le Havre. Francis Le Goff explained, the possibility mentioned yesterday of seeing the IMOCAs set off on Sunday is now no longer possible, in particular because of the strengthening of the westerly wind, which is going to impact heavily on the coast around Le Havre. Added to this is a time constraint with the gates of the Le Havre basins closing at 3:30 p.m. for sunset at 5:30 p.m. that day. So no start on Sunday. The decision-making process was shared by the IMOCA Class Sports Commission, which represents the 40 duos entered in this class. The race direction team is working on a starting scenario, the first option at the moment being Tuesday, November 7th at the very beginning of the morning, with an IMOCA exit out of the docks the morning open gate from 5 a.m. to 6:15 a.m. Other scenarios after this date are also studied. The preferred option for the course now is a direct route to Martinique. For the Class 40 and Ocean 50, for which nothing was already considered possible before Monday, there is no change. The goal is always to go at the first opportunity, in collaboration with the classes, concluded Francis Le Goff.
One eye on the maps to follow the ULTIMS still racing, another on the ports of Le Havre and Lorient to keep an eye on Storm Ciarán. For the race directors and their teams on the pontoons, it's been a busy night. In Lorient-la-Basse, the Class 40s and Ocean 50s, well moored, withstood the onslaught of Mother Nature. At its strongest, gusts reached up to 147 kilometers an hour. The watchword? Vigilance. Our eyes are in more than 3 places at once, so we're obviously keeping an eye on what's happening in Lorient and Le Havre and on the ULTIMS fleet, but we're also watching what's going to happen as we leave the Channel on Sunday and the Bay of Biscay on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This Thursday morning, Aeolus continues to roar over the Paul Vatine Basin and the IMOCA. 60 knots in the harbour. At sea, it's a completely different atmosphere. After a spell of erratic crosswinds, the ULTIMS are starting to pick up speed once more. It's just incredible. These boats are just incredible. There are 9 or 10 knots of wind. And here we are at 30 knots. There's 18 to 20 knots of trade wind. It's accelerating well. Small rises, not far from 40 knots. Everything's going well. At 5 p.m, the Maxibank Populaire 11 is still leading the fleet. The Armand Leclerc-Sebastien Jost duo are widening the gap on their 2 direct pursuers. Actual and Sodebo are further east, close to the Canarian coast. With Anthony Marchand right behind us, the fight is on. We wanted a fight, and we got one.
En attendant une fenêtre météo pour pouvoir prendre le départ de la Transat Jacques Vabre, le bateau est au Havre et surveillé par une partie de l'équipe parce que ça souffre très fort. La tempête annoncée est bien présente. On le voit sur les cartes avec des vents qui ont approché les 100 nœuds, presque 200 km/h, des vagues de de plus de 10 mètres. Plus c'est rouge, violet, voire blanc, plus c'est explosif. Dans ces conditions, il était impossible en partant du Havre d'être sûr que les bateaux éviteraient cette tempête. D'autres classes de bateaux moins rapides que les IMOCA savaient qu'elles ne pourraient de toute façon pas l'éviter, donc elles avaient décidé depuis plusieurs jours de partir et de se mettre à l'abri à Lorient. Pour les IMOCA, on a espéré jusqu'au dernier moment que ça puisse passer, mais le dimanche matin, ça devenait vraiment pas raisonnable. Donc maintenant, on guette une fenêtre météo. Normalement, le parcours passait par un archipel qui s'appelle Saint-Pierre et Saint-Paul au niveau de l'équateur. Là, on va y aller en route directe pour gagner du temps, sachant qu'il y a en plus une course retour en solitaire qui doit partir de Martinique et revenir à Lorient fin novembre jusqu'à mi-décembre. Donc on vous tient au courant et à très vite.